Hey everybody, welcome back to Project Dumpster Fire. Today is a big day. Dad and I are going to pull the engine on the Land Cruiser. So let's get into it. All right, the first thing we need to do is get the seats out of here. That way we can get the gas tank out, which is under the seat, in order to get the transmission tunnel off, which is under the gas tank. You have to remove the transmission tunnel in order to be able to manipulate the engine, transmission, and transfer case as they come out. So let's go ahead and do that. These are 1975 Camaro seats, by the way. They were pretty comfortable 20 years ago, but they're pretty roach now, so out they go. Now on to removing all the various fuel lines going to and from the tank, as well as the filler tube, the wires for the sending unit, and so on. By the way, you may have noticed that this tank is sort of free-floating. It shouldn't be. There are supposed to be straps going over the tank and bolting it to the floor. You know, holding it down. Because it's a tank of fuel. Not this one, though. The only thing keeping it in place was gravity and broken dreams. Right about now, I was debating with myself whether I wanted to take the time to drain the tank. I probably should. After all, I don't want to spill a bunch of old gas everywhere, right? Then again, draining the tank will come with its own trouble. I really should do it, though. Yeah, I should do it. Right? You know what? I should drain this thing.
Yeah, you should.
I'm going to do this. It's probably going to make a mess. You're in my way. This is so bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Do you have anything I can get you that'll absorb that?
No, this is bad. Empty by now. Another line still. Hoses are on this thing. Okay. All right, time to get the Land Cruiser out of the garage so that I can deal with that giant puddle of ancient gas. That, my friends, is not a sweat stain. It's an armpit full of dinosaur juice. We have a gas dryer, and an explosion would really set this project back. You know how it is. So let's pressure wash it out of there and clean it up. I got this pressure washer at Harbor Freight. It's their cheap little electric one. It doesn't have a lot of power, but it's good for cleaning up stuff like this and playing with the neighbor's cat, whatever. Anyhow, I'll sweep the water out and let it dry while we keep working outside. You know, thinking back, my dad used to get pretty annoyed and yell a lot whenever I'd soak us both in gasoline, but just look at him now. He's just whistling a happy tune. All right, so Dad's going to go ahead and keep working on the front. He's pulling everything apart, and I'm helping him here with a stuck motor mount bolt. It's time for me to go back to my pre-gasoline adventure and get back to working on the inside of this thing. I have a lot more stuff to pull out before it's done, so Dad will stay up front, disconnecting things out there, and I'll get on the inside and start working on that. I promise we will get this engine out today. All right, back to the interior. Let's get the driver's seat out of here. Not too hard to pull out. Heavy, though. All right, it's gone. Now, the 1990s plastic cup holder, complete with CD compartment and rusted screws. That's gone, too. Now the gear shift knob and transfer case knob need to come off. I have to take the gear shift knobs off so that I can take the boots off, so that I can take the transmission tunnel off, so that I can access everything underneath. I need to take the shifter itself out of the transmission. Usually you can just push down on these and twist them, but this spring's pretty stiff. So I made a quick tool with a piece of exhaust tubing that I had laying around. Then it popped right out. So there's a trick if you ever need to do that. It'll work on pretty much anything with that style of shifter. You can buy a tool made especially for that purpose, but you really don't have to. Then it's just a matter of finding the right tool. It's a 12. It's always a 12 on a Land Cruiser, except when it isn't, but it usually is. I'm pulling out all these bolts. A lot of them are covered in spray-on bed liner, so that was a challenge to remove the bed liner from the bolt so that a socket would even fit. I also have to pull the original heater out, so I'm doing that as I go at the same time. That side came off pretty easy. All right, heater's out. A couple more bolts. Then it's just a matter of cutting the bed liner away from the seam and pulling the trans tunnel out. Okay, let's get this thing back in the garage. Time to get this engine out already. One more. Actually, two more.
What happened?
Everything's fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
Let me redo everything.
Okay.
Well, that sucked. Completely my fault. I didn't double check the rigging as I was lifting. I re-rigged it in a much safer manner and we should be good to go. But this is what happens when you get complacent. When you first start doing things like this, you don't know what you're doing and it makes you hypervigilant. When you've done it countless times, you sometimes lose that focus. Lesson learned. When the engine fell, it landed with the crank pulley just barely touching the edge of the front crossmember. If it had fallen just another 1/16 of an inch back, the entire thing would have dropped. That's about as close as it gets, and closer than I need to get again. Alright, like I said, the engine is just sitting on the crossmember. So let's get a floor jack under it so I can drop this hoist down and get the weight off the chain. Then I'll re-rig the chain so this shit does not happen again. We'll be off to the races. call Alyssa until I would come out and see what we did. Hi, honey.
Hey, baby.
Come see what we did.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm coming.
All right.
All right.
This is what we did today.
Yeah.
Are you proud of us?
Yeah. Wow.
So now we got to just start
Yeah, what's next?
taking
I'll
pieces.
take a look at the inside.
Like where the seats and stuff are? Not the guts. I'm looking at the guts. Well, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
That all had to be done to get the cover off for the transmission to be able to pull the engine out.
Does that make sense?
That was straight up danger.
What was straight up danger?
Pulling that motor. The way that the chain was, it was just all bad. Yeah, when the chain came off,
At what point did it come off?
when it was in the air.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me. Well, I'm glad everybody is okay.
My wife and my dad and I, we all thank you for watching us. Join us next time on Project Dumpster Fire to see progress.
Yes.
Thanks, and thanks for watching.